Good day, guys. Hope you guys are doing well. So today we'll be doing Business Studies Paper 1, which is June 2025 NSC. So now we can start. Section A, it's compulsory. Various options are provided as possible answers to the following questions. Choose the answer and write only the letter A to D next to the question numbers 1.1.1 to 1.1.5 in the answer book. E.g. 1.1.6, it's D. So this act encourages businesses to invest in the education and training of the South African workforce. So since it has to do with education and training, our option is going to be B, which is Skills Development Act. Jericho Carpets opened a new branch in another province to distribute their carpets. This type of intensive strategy is known as. So here we're going to take D because it's our market development. We are selling an existing product to the new environment or new location. So it's our market development. We are developing the market. Amandla Distributors has no control over challenges posed by the environment. Obviously, businesses do not have control over challenges posed by the macro environment. So 1.1.4, the purpose of an interview is to book and prepare the venue. No. Invite possible candidates to apply for the vacancy. If you are being called for an interview, it means you have already applied for the vacancy. So determine a candidate's suitability for the job. So our answer will be C. Then 1.1.5, Aziza Manufacturing Ltd uses to reduce the cost of redundancy in the long run. So here our answer will be B, which is Quality Management Systems. So now let's transfer our answers. So here we have question 1. So we said our answer for 1.1.1, it's B. Then 1.1.2, it's D. Then 1.1.3, it's A. Our 1.1.4, it's C. A, C. Then 1.1.5, it's B. So 1.2, complete the following statement by using the words provided in the list below. Write only the words next to the question numbers 1.2.1 to 1.2.5 in the answer book. 1.2.1, an employee is entitled to 10 consecutive days off. So now we'll take parental. So here our answer will be parental. Then 1.2.2, Ranzo Furniture applied the vertical integration strategy when they took over Green Timber, their wood supplier. So now here our answer will be backward. So backward is when they take control over the supply. Then 1.2.3, the productivity of Lucas Engineering has improved due to the employment and qualified engineers. This is in compiling a SWOT analysis. So since we have hired qualified engineers, in our SWOT analysis, it's going to be our strength. Then 1.2.4, the Act has implications for the human resources function as it ensures that affirmative action measures are correctly implemented. So 1.2.4, since we are talking about affirmative action, it means we are redressing the issues that happened in the past. So our best option, it will be employment equity. Grey water systems implement to ensure that the required standards are met at every stage of the production process. So here the answer that you are going to take is going to be our quality assurance. So 1.2.1, our answer is parental. Then 1.2.2, we have backward. Then 1.2.3, we have strength. And 1.2.5, we have quality assurance. One point three, choose a description from column B that matches a term in column A. Write only the letter A to J next to the question numbers 1.3.1 to 1.3.5 in the answer book. E.g. 1.3.6, it's K. So 1.3.1, we have our National Credit Act. So the best option for a National Credit Act here, it will be C. So here we'll say C, because it protects both lenders and borrowers from negligent lending practices. Then 1.3.2, we have the pestle analysis. So the best option for pestle analysis is going to be our option number G, because it's a tool used to evaluate the challenges posed by the macro environment. Then 1.3.3, we have placement procedure. So our option for placement procedure, it will be E. Linking the expectations of a position and the competencies of a new employee. Then 1.3.4, we have the UIF, which is the Unemployment Insurance Fund. So Unemployment Insurance Fund will take B. We'll say it's a compulsory benefit that provides financial assistance to workers who lose their jobs due to illnesses. Okay. Then 1.3.5, we have total client or customer satisfaction. So our best option for total client and customer satisfaction, It's gonna be I. Because large businesses conduct market research to evaluate the needs of buyers. So we'll take I. So now let's transfer our answers. So 1.3.1, we said it's C. Then 1.3.2, it's G. Then 1.3.3, it's E. 1.3.4, we have our B. Then 1.3.5, we have our answer, which is I. So now let's move to section B. Section B, it says answer any 2 questions in this section, but you're going to answer all of them for today. Clearly indicate the question number of each question that you choose. The answer to each question must start on a new page. E.g., question 2 on a new page, question 3 on a new page. So question 2, we have business environment. So this is our new page. We have question 2. Then you have 2.1. Name any 4 pillars of the Broad-Based Black Economic Empowerment Act 2003. Okay. So now, the first pillar that we have, it's ownership. So we have ownership. Also, we have management of control. After management of control, we have our social economic development. We have skills development. After skills development, we have enterprise and supplier development. Now we are done with 2.1. 2.2, it says outline the advantages of intensive strategies. So we go to our answer sheet. We have 2.2. So the first advantage of intensive strategies, we have increased market share. So what you can say about increased market share, we can say by implementing strategies So increased market share, if the business implements the increase in the market share, so by implementing strategies like market penetration, businesses can gain a larger share of their existing markets through increased marketing efforts. Then our second one that you can put, you can say improved profitability. Then now about enhanced and improved profitability, we can say premium pricing on improved products. So let's go back to the question. It's 6 marks. So now we have 2 points, 2 points for 4 marks. Premium pricing on improved products combined with increased sales can significantly boost profitability. So now also another thing that you can put, it's enhanced brand recognition. So now expanding into new markets will help our brand to be recognized. So since it's 6 marks, we're just going to record this 3. But we have so many points that you can use. You can use competitive advantage. You can also use access to untapped markets. We can use innovation and product development. So we have so many things that you can put. 2.3, read the scenario below and answer the questions that follow. We have Petra Farming, PF. Petra Farming supplies fresh milk. We are selling fresh milk to local customers. They added homemade cheese to their product range to increase sales to new customers. PF also opened a petrol station to attract new customers. Identify 2 types of diversification strategies implemented by PF. Motivate your answer by quoting from the scenario above. So now the first diversification strategies, we have the horizontal diversification. Then our motivation from the case study, we can say PF added homemade cheese to their product range to increase sales to new customers. So they added homemade cheese. Then the second diversification strategy that you're going to have concentric diversification. Why are we saying concentric diversification? It's also involved because PF also opened a petrol station to attract new customers. So here we have 2.3. On this 2.3, so let me just say types of diversification strategies. Then here we have motivations. So the first strategy, we say it's horizontal diversification. And we said it's our motivation is that they added homemade cheese. They added homemade cheese to their product range to increase sales. To increase sales. We said our second one is going to be our concentric diversification. So here we have concentric diversification. Then our motivation from the case study, we said PF will also open the petrol station to attract new customers. So now we are done with our 2.3. So 2.4, discuss the rights of employers in terms of the Labor Relations Act. So here we have 2.4, which is the right of employers. So our first one, we're going to use freedom of association. They are free to associate with anyone that they want to associate with. That's why we say freedom of associations. No, sorry, Ash. It's not supposed to be freedom of association because this is for the employee. So we have to use the one for the employer. So now, the employer, they have a right regarding forming and joining organizations. So now employers have the right to join employers' organizations. The very same way the employees have the right to join the employees' organizations. Employers' organizations and participate in their activities. So now we are done. Another thing that you can put also, we can put collective bargaining. What do we mean by saying collective bargaining? We are saying the Labor Relations Act will allow the employer and the employees and their trade unions to regulate workplace conditions. That's why we are saying collective bargaining. So the Labor Relations Act to regulate workplace conditions. Another right that the employer has, it should be workplace management. They should be able to manage the workplace. So you are not supposed to bully them because they have hired you. Employers have the right to manage their workforce. Workforce including setting working hours. Then now they also have the right to disciplinary action. They also have a right to protecting confidential information. So now since we are writing for 6 marks, I think the 3 points will be enough. So we are done. Let's go to 2.5. Describe any 2 types of defensive strategies. So now our first defensive strategy that you have, it's what? 2.5. So the first defensive strategy that we have position defense. So in this position defense, we can explain it by saying maintaining a strong brand and customer loyalty. Customer loyalty to defend against competitors. Then the next one that you can use mobile defense. So mobile defense, it's when the business continuously adapt and innovate to stay ahead of competitors. They become adaptive and innovative. To stay ahead of competitors. Then we can add our last one, which is flanking defense. So now about flanking defense, you can say diversifying. So you are talking about diversification. Diversifying into new markets. To create barriers to competition. So now we are done with our 2.6, our 2.5. Let's move to 2.6. 2.6, it says read the scenario below and answer the questions that follow. We have Buhle Architecture, abbreviated as BA. Buhle Architecture pays monthly contributions to your common fund to protect the workers in the event of workplace accidents. BA is also able to access other advantages when making these contributions. Name the act applicable to BA in the scenario, since it prevents the employees from injuries on duty. So it's going to be our COIDA. So it's compensation for occupational injuries for Occupational Injuries and Diseases Act. So 2.6.1, we have compensation, which is our COIDA. Injuries and Diseases Act. It's also known as the COIDA. Then 2.6.2, explain other advantages of the Act identified in question 2.6.1 for the business. So now, what are the advantages of COIDA for the business? So the first one, we can say 2.6.2. The first one, we can say employee protection. It protects the employees. Then what can we say about employee protection? We can say COIDA guarantees benefits. Guarantees benefits to employees who are injured. To employees who are injured or contract occupational diseases. So the first thing is going to protect the employees when they get injured from the workplace or when they have health problems from the workplace. So our another advantage, you can also say employer protection. It does not only protect the employee, but it also protects the employer. So how does it protect the employer? It protects the employers from civil claims for damages from employees. So COIRA protects employers from civil claims So now it protects the employee from civil claims for damages if the employees get injured on the job. So if the employee gets injured, they will just claim from COIRA because they are already being insured by the company. Another advantage that you can put, it can be social security. How does COIRA offer social security? You can say benefits are considered a form of social security. So they are considered a form of social security, ensuring a safety net for employees. For employees facing work-related injuries, or illnesses. Then we are done. So advise businesses on the strategic management process. So 2.7, we have to advise the business on the strategic management process. So now the first thing that you can put is our vision and mission. So now what we can say about vision and mission? Organizations begin by establishing a clear vision. So if you want to open a business, you should begin by establishing a clear vision. clear vision, for the future, and a mission that outlines the purpose and the value. Then another thing that you can talk about environmental formulation. How is the environment of the business? So we have environmental formulation. So under environmental, after environmental analysis, because it's environmental analysis. Sorry for the mistake. Before you start a business, you should make a thorough research on the external and internal environment. So a thorough analysis of the external and internal environment. Because you cannot just start a business. What if the area where you want to start a business is a high crime area? Environment. Then another thing that you can put here, it's going to be a strategy formulation. Any business should have a strategy in order for it not to collapse. So a strategy formulation, it should be based on the analysis. Remember, you analyze the area, then you come up with a strategy. So based on the analysis, the organization should develop a strategy. Then now we are done with our 2.7. We have more we can use. We can use strategy implementation. We can also use evaluation and control. But since it's 6 marks, we'll only stick to this 3 points. Let's move to question 3. Question 3, we have our business operations. It says name the 2 components of a job analysis. So first thing for the job analysis, we'll take the jobs task. Job task will be the first one. Then you also have duties and responsibility. You can't work in a job where you don't know what is your task, what are your duties and responsibilities, and also what are the required skills. So question 3, We have 3.1. So 3.1, we have required skills. Then number 2, we also have duties and responsibilities. We are done with our 3.1. So we have 3.2. 3.2, it says, elaborate on the meaning of piecemeal as a salary determination method. So 3.2, we can say, piecemeal is a system they are paid based on the number of units or items produced. If you produce one item, you get paid for one item. So produced, we can also say so now we can also say piecemeal systems can incentivize higher output but might compromise quality if employees rush to complete units. So employees will work fast wanting to reach the target and produce inferior quality. Quality if employees rush we know that if people get paid based on the number of items that they have produced, they will want to produce more because they want to earn more. But what about the quality of the goods? So that's the disadvantage about piecemeal. So now let's move to 3.2. Read the scenario below and answer the questions that follow. Shahim Technologies gave Mark, a newly appointed employee, a tour of the premises. a competitive salary and an overview of the business. ST are reaping the benefits of induction in their business operations. 3.3.1. Name two aspects that ST included in their induction problem. So the first thing that they included, it was introduction to the company. Because they told this company about the overview of the business. So we're going to say introduction to the company. Then the second thing that you can say is the workplace environment and facilities, because they gave the employee a tour. So here, 3.3.1, we have introduction to the company. Because they gave the employee the overview of the company. Then now our second thing that you can also include is workplace environment. So now workplace environment and facilities. So now we are done with our 3.3.1. We move to 3.3.2. Explain the benefits of induction for the business. So now hiring people who went for induction, it's beneficial for the business because those people have been told about the culture of the business. So the first benefit that you can put here, it will be our reduced employee turnover. So we have 3.3.2. So here we have reduced employee turnover. So we can say induction programs help new hires feel welcome and supported in the business. So when someone is new in the business, they should go through induction so that they can know what's required in the workplace. So it helps new employees feel welcomed and supported. Leading to increased job satisfaction. So most people, when they work in the environment where they feel appreciated, they're going to be satisfied with the job. That's why we say they will feel welcomed and supported, leading to increased job satisfaction. The second benefit for induction, we can say it will help when it comes to productivity. So we can say enhanced productivity. Then about enhanced productivity, we can say, when new employees understand their roles, responsibilities, and their company's culture, they can start contributing more into the business. So they can start contributing more more effectively and quickly. So another thing that you can also put here, we can put improved workplace culture. So taking the employees for induction, it will improve our workplace culture because everyone will know what is the culture of the business. So here, a well-structured induction program can establish a positive and inclusive work environment. An inclusive work environment. So now we'll stick to this three. We have so many things that you can use. You can use employee engagement, reduce training costs, as long as it's an advantage of induction. So we are done with our 3.3.2. We can move to 3.4. Discuss the selection procedure as a human resource activity. So now, selection procedure, we are talking about the process of selecting employees. So we have 3.4. 3.4 will says it ensures quality. So now the selection process helps organizations hire individuals who are well suited for the job. So it helps organizations to hire individuals who are well suited for the job. Then now, what can we say also about the importance of selection? We can also say it reduces turnover. Why are we saying it reduces turnover? Because when the business selects the right people, the business can reduce employee turnover and save on recruitment costs. They can reduce employee turnover and save on recruitment costs. So it will also improve workforce diversity. Why are we saying it improves workforce diversity? Because a fair and transparent selections process can help attract candidates from diverse environments. So it will help attract people from different races and different places. Attract candidates from diverse backgrounds. So now we'll stick to this three. So let's move to 3.5. 3.5, it says outline the benefits of a good quality management system. So now our first benefit, so it's 3.5. So our first benefit will be improved product quality and consistency. It will help improve product quality and consistency. And consistency. We can also say it helps the business to reduce errors. So reduce errors, how does it reduce errors? So we'll say it focuses on defining. So it focuses on defining improving, and controlling processes. And controlling processes leading to fewer mistakes. That's why we are saying it improves the quality because it leads to fewer mistakes. Another point that we can use consistent results, because our results are going to be consistent. So standardized processes and documentation ensure consistent quality outcomes. So it ensures consistent quality outcomes. Then it also helped with streamlined processes. So streamlined processes, you can say it involves streamlining workflows and eliminating redundancies. So we are avoiding by all means to repeat the same thing. That's why we are following processes. It involves streamlining workflows and eliminating redundancies, which is repetition, leading to better efficiency. Then now we are done with our 3.5. Let's move to 3.6. Read the scenario below and answer the questions that follow. Bloom Enterprise render transport services across the country. The Chief Executive Officer effectively communicates the shared vision and mission of the business with employees. BE also provides regular press releases to all stakeholders. Identify 2 business functions that contribute to the success of BE. Motivate your answer by quoting from the scenario above. So now, the first thing that you will quote is going to be operations. The operations functions, Then our second thing that you are going to code is going to be our public relations. Then our motivation from the case study, we're going to say the CEO effectively communicates the shared vision and mission with employees. So it's going to affect operations. Then for public relations, we will say PE also provide regular press releases. Regular press releases. So here we have 3.6. On our 3.6, we have business functions and motivations. So here we have business functions. Then here we have our motivations from the case study. So the business functions, that will be our first one. It's going to be our operations or our operating functions. Then our motivation from the case study, it will be the CEO effectively communicates the shared vision and mission of the business with employees. Communicates the shared vision and mission of the business. With employees. Then our second point, it will be our public relations. So our motivation for public relations, it will be PE also provide regular press releases to all stakeholders. Regular to all stakeholders. Then 3.7, explain how businesses can apply the Act step of PDCA to improve the quality product. So now our P will represent our plan. Then our D, it's do. Then our C will be check. Then A, it's act. So let's go to 3.7. So we'll start with our P, which is planning. So we have plan. The business can define specific areas where product quality, where product quality needs improvement. Then we move to our D, which is do. Then with do, we can say implement the plan. The company or the business, they can implement their plan. How will they implement their plan? By executing the planned actions. They execute their planned actions on a small scale or pilot program. Then we move to our C, which is check. So now check, the business can analyze the data, which is the information that they have or get. So they can analyze the collected data data to evaluate the effectiveness of the implemented plan. The effectiveness of the implemented plan. And whether the objectives are being met. So now we go to our last thing, which is our A, which is act. The business has to act now. So now we'll say standardize successful actions. So what do we mean by that? If the plan has proven successful, we should standardize the implemented changes and integrate them into the routine operations. So if the plan is working, we should keep on doing the same thing again and again and improve where we think there's a weakness or a loophole. We should standardize the implemented changes and integrate them. Into the routine operations. So now we are done with 3.7. Let's go to 3.8. Evaluate the impact of adequate financing and capacity as a total quality management element on large businesses. So impact, we are talking about the positive and the negative, which is the advantages and the disadvantages. So now let's go to the impact of adequate financing. So it's our 3.8. So 3.8 will firstly quote the investment in quality. So each and every business should invest in quality if they want to be sustainable. Then what can we say about investment in quality? Sufficient funds allow for investing in quality tools, technologies, and processes. So if we have enough money, we can produce quality. We can invest our money into producing quality. Investing in quality tools, technologies, and processes. Then now we can also say continuous improvement. We are forever improving. So now we can say also adequate financing supports ongoing improvement. If the business has money, they will improve because they will invest their money into improving their business. So we can say adequate financing supports ongoing improvement initiatives. Such as process optimization, Then another thing that you can add our customer satisfaction. Then we can say investing in quality leads to better products and services, leading to increased customer satisfaction and loyalty. So if the business is selling quality products, it will have more customers. resulting in increased customer satisfaction and loyalty. So now we can also quote the impact on adequate capacity. So for adequate capacity, we're going to start on process improvement. Then about process improvement, we can say having the necessary resources and workforce allows for effective process design improvement and implementation. Allows for effective process design and improvement. Improvement and implementation. Then we can also use data collection and analysis. So now here we can say large businesses can leverage their capacity to collect and analyze data to identify areas for improvement and monitor performances. Usually when you go to huge businesses, they have a suggestion box. So that suggestion box, they use it to improve their businesses. So they follow whatever that their consumers are saying. That's why we can say large businesses can leverage their capacity to collect and analyze data to identify areas for improvement and monitor performance. Then now we can use this one as our last one. We can say customer service. Adequate capacity ensures effective customer service. Then you also have prompt resolution. So prompt resolution of issues. And timely delivery of products and services. So now we are done with our question 3. So now let's move to question 4. So question 4, we have business environment. 4.1, it says name any 4 forces of Potter's 5 forces model. So we are going to name the Potter's 5 models. So here let's start by saying question 4. Then we have 4.1. So now we're going to name the thread of new entrant. Then our second one is going to be the bargaining power of suppliers. Then our third model, it will be threat of substitute products or services. We have another model, which is the bargaining power of buyers. So we are going to list all 5. Then you also have competition, rivalry. Then we move to 4.2. Identify the business sector applicable to each statement below. Lerato manufacturers specialize in the production of various sports equipment. So since they are producing, it means they are turning the raw materials into finished goods. So it's going to be our secondary sector. Then 4.2.2, mountain traders sell sports equipment. They sell sports equipment to different sports outlets. So it's going to be our tertiary sector. So we have 4.2.1. So 4.2.1, we have secondary sector. And then under 4.2.2, we have our tertiary sector. Then we move to our next question, which is 4.3. Discuss the penalties for non-compliance with the Employment Equity Act. So now we have to talk about the penalties that the business are going to face if they don't follow Employment Equity Act. So the first penalties that they are going to impose to the business is going to be fines. So the first one, we have fines. Then under fines, you can say the Department of Employment and Labor can impose fines for non-compliance. So now the Department of Employment and Labor can impose fines for business that do not comply, with amounts increasing So the Department of Employment and Labor can impose fines for non-compliance with amount increasing based on the severity and history of violations. Then another penalty, it can be legal action. So under legal action, we can also say the Department of Labor can refer if the business does not comply. The Department of Labor can take the business to the court of law. Businesses to the labor court. And on the labor court, further penalties can also be imposed. Another penalty that they can face, it can be exclusion from state contracts. They won't get contracts from the government. So now if the business want to conduct business with the government, it is compulsory for them to engage, to comply and follow all the business laws in South Africa. So now here we're gonna say Employment Equity Act compliance is a prerequisite for engaging in contracts with the state. We can also put the damage to reputation, because if the business does not comply, the reputation of the business will be tarnished. We can also include difficulty in recruitment and retention, because also if the business does not comply, so now we'll stick to these ones for now. So 4.4, advise businesses on the steps in strategy valuation. So now let's go to 4.4. So our first step is going to be defining objectives and standards. Each and every business should be able to define their objectives and their standards. So the business should be able to gather relevant information, including performance data, stakeholder feedback, and market trends. The second thing that the business can do, they can collect and measure their data. Define the objectives. No, see. Shh. So now 4.4, the first step that the business they can do is to define objectives and standards. They should define objectives and standards. The business should be able to establish clear goals. And benchmarks against which to measure. So the first step that the business they can do, they can define their objectives and standards. They can do that by establishing the clear goals and benchmarks against which to measure the strategy's success. So the second thing that the business they can do, they can collect and measure the data that they are using for the strategy. So how can they collect and measure data? They can gather relevant information. Including performance data, so now the business should collect and measure the data. They can do that by gathering the relevant information, including performance data and stakeholder feedback and market trends. So stakeholder feedback, we can also include customers, the feedback from the customers. Then the third thing, they can take corrective action based on the information that they have received. So we collected and measured data. Now we are analyzing the data, because we have to analyze the data before we take action. So how can we analyze the data? The business can compare actual information against established standards. And identifying the gaps and the root for the cause. And then also they should analyze the impact of the strategy on the business. Then let's move to 4.5. 4.5, outline the legal requirements of an employment contract. So first thing, there should be an offer and acceptance. So when there's an employment, the business should offer an employment and then the employee should accept the offer. So that's why we are saying it's offer and acceptance. So a clear job offer must be made. And accepted by the employee. The second thing, there should be a certainty of terms. So now the contract So in the contract of an employee, there should be the details of the employment, including the job title, the description, and the duties and responsibilities of the employees. Then now there should be consideration. Each party must provide something of value. So now the employee will produce the work because they want to produce in the company. Then the employer will offer the employee a job. So now both parties should bring something in the table. So now the employer will offer the employee the job. Then the employee should also work in return. Must provide. Why am I saying must return? So in consideration, the employee will offer a skill or render a service in the business and then they will get paid. So in that way, both parties have provided something of value in the table. So now we are on 4.6. Explain the impact of fringe benefits on businesses. So impact, we are going to talk about the positive and the negative. So 4.6, the good thing about fringe benefit is that it's going to enhance employee satisfaction and engagement. So now fringe benefits demonstrate companies' commitment to employee well-being and financial security. So they feel accepted by the company. To employee well-being and financial security. And that will lead to increased job satisfaction. Because if employees are benefiting from the company, they will be satisfied with their jobs. Another advantage you can say, it will help reduce turnover for employees. Because now employees are less likely to leave the company that provides valuable perks beyond salary. If employees are benefiting from the company, it won't be easy for them to leave that company. So employees are less likely to leave a company that provides valuable perks beyond salary. So this will result in lower turnover costs for the business. Another advantage is that this thing will improve the recruitment. So here we'll say improved recruitment. Because fringe benefits can help attract and retain high quality talent. Everyone who's looking for employment would be happy to work for a company that offers fringe benefits. So improved recruitment. So fringe benefits can help attract and retain high quality talent, making the recruitment process more successful. So now these are the advantages of fringe benefits. So now let's move to the disadvantages. So the first disadvantage, it will be increased administration costs. This will increase the administration cost for the business. Then we can say for the business managing fringe benefits, such as insurance policies, or retirement plans. It can significantly can involve significant So this will increase the administration cost of the business because they are paying more beyond the salary to employees. So another thing also, this will have an impact on the profit of the business. So it will impact profitability. So the cost of providing fringe benefits can reduce company profits. Then the second disadvantage, also we can say, it's potential for complex regulations. Now we can say the cost of providing fringe benefits so potential for complex regulations. So now it will affect the tax and legal implications of various benefits. So navigating the tax and legal implications of various fringe benefits can be complex. So that's a disadvantage for the business. Now we are done with our 4.6. Let's move to 4.7. Read the scenario below and answer the questions that follow. Kimol manufacturer implements total quality management to reduce the cost of quality. The production manager works closely with suppliers to improve the standards of raw materials. KM monitors their maintenance programs on a regular basis to prevent the breakdown of equipment. They also provide annual bonuses to employees who meet their sales targets. 4.7.1. Code 2 ways in which total quality management reduces the cost of quality at KM from the scenario above. So the first one, it will be this one, which is the production manager works closely with suppliers to improve the standards of raw materials. With suppliers to improve the standards of raw materials. Now, our second thing that you can quote, you can also say KM monitors their maintenance programs on a regular basis to prevent the breakdown of equipment. So KM monitors their maintenance programs on a regular basis. to prevent the breakdown of equipment. Then 4.7.2, discuss other ways in which total quality management can reduce the cost of quality. So it's 4.7.2. So the first one, we know that TQM focuses on prevention over correction. So you can say focusing on prevention over correction. So then we'll say TQM emphasizes identifying and addressing potential quality issues early in the process. So another thing that you can say, continuous improvement and process optimization. Then you say TQM involves a structured approach to identifying and eliminating waste. And eliminating waste, ineffectiveness, So TQM involves a structured approach to identifying and eliminating waste, ineffectiveness, and bottlenecks in processes. Then the third one that you can put improved customer focus and satisfaction. Then we say by delivering consistently higher quality products and services, TQM helps organizations build customer loyalty and satisfaction. So TQM helps organizations build customer loyalty. So now let's move to 4.8. Advise businesses on how the quality of performance of the administration function can contribute to the success of the business. So first thing, if the admin of the business, it's quality. So the first thing that you can say, it's efficiency and productivity. The business will be efficient and productive. So our first one, we're going to use the streamlined process. So we're going to say a well-organized administration ensures that business processes are streamlined. Streamlined and efficient, leading to increased productivity and output. So our second thing that you can put as an advantage, you're going to put time management. So effective time management within the administration helps to ensure that tasks are completed promptly and efficiently. So now, if we have an admin that is competitive, we know that all our tasks will be done on time. So that's why we are saying effective time management within the administration helps promptly and efficiently. So now the second thing that you can put one under resource management. The business will be able to manage their resources. Then we put financial control. Then under financial control, we can say a strong administration function effectively manages financial resources including budgeting, accounting, and cost control. Leading to improved profitability. Then now we can put human resource as our last one. Ensures that people who are employed by the business are properly trained. trained, motivated, and engaged. Maximizing their contribution to the business. So now we are done with our question 4. So section C, answer any one question in this section. So we're going to answer 2 of them. Note, clearly indicate the question number on the chosen questions. The answer to the question must start on a new page, e.g. question 5 on a new page or question 6 on a new page. So question 5, we have business environment legislation. Businesses are required to have a sound knowledge of the Consumer Protection Act, CPA 2008, Act 68 of 2008. The implementation of this act directly impacts on business operations. Businesses must observe the consumer rights as outlined in the CPA and also comply with this act. Write an essay on the Consumer Protection Act in which you include the following aspects. Outline the purpose of the Consumer Protection Act. Discuss the impact of the Consumer Protection Act on businesses. Explain any 3 consumer rights in terms of the CPA. Suggest ways in which businesses can comply with the CPA. So we start with our introduction. In our introduction, we can define Consumer Protection Act, or we can say something that is related to Consumer Protection Act. So now here we can say the CPA, which is our Consumer Protection Act, it aims to protect consumers from unfair and unethical or unethical business practices. It helps also to improve so we'll say it also improves consumer information and it also promotes responsible consumer behavior. We can also say the CPA creates a fair, accessible, and sustainable marketplace. So now we are done with our intro. We can move to our body. So they say outline the purpose of Consumer Protection Act. So we have to outline the purpose of the Consumer Protection Act. So here we'll say purpose of the Consumer Protection Act. So the first purpose of the Consumer Protection Act is to establish consumer rights. So it's to establish consumer rights. So we can say CPA defines and protects various consumer rights including the right to equality, privacy, and choice. And access to accurate information. Then the second thing, the CPA promotes fair business practices. So you're going to say promoting fair business practices. So the Act prohibits unfair or misleading marketing. Marketing and business practices. ensuring that consumers are not exploited or deceived. Then, it can also improve consumer information. Then we can say the CPA aims to improve the quality and accessibility of information. Of information that consumers need to make informed decisions. Then we can also say it ensures responsible consumer. So now we start with the behavior. The act encourages consumers to act responsible. And to be aware of their rights and responsibilities. So you can also put another one, which is establishing a framework for enforcement. The CPA provides a legal framework for enforcing consumer rights through various mechanisms including the National Consumer Commission and the National Consumer Tribunal. And the National Consumer Tribunal. So now I think we have listed enough points. So now you have to discuss the impact on the impact of the Consumer Protection Act on businesses. So now we're going to focus on both positive and negative. So we'll start with the advantages. The first advantage, it will be that it will increase trust and loyalty. So now by adhering to the CPA, they build trust and loyalty with consumers. By demonstrating a commitment. Commitment to fairness and transparency. Then another advantage, it will be that it will reduce legal risks. So now compliance minimizes the risk of legal dispute because the business won't need to pay any penalties because they are complying. So compliance minimizes the risk of legal dispute. And associated costs. As the CPA provides a clear framework for business practices. It will also help on the reputation of the business. So we're going to say enhanced reputation. So we can say promoting fairness and transparency through the CPA. It can lead to a positive reputation. And it will also enhance the business standing in the market. Standing in the market. So now we can go to disadvantages. So here we have disadvantages. So the first disadvantage will be penalties and fines. Because if the business does not comply, they will face penalties or they will be charged fines. Then non-compliance will lead to penalties. It can result in fines, legal actions, and other penalties. Imposed by the regulatory bodies. Regulatory bodies or regulatory bodies. So now another disadvantage, it can be legal action and lawsuits. If the business does not comply, they can face legal action and lawsuits. So we can say consumers can take legal action against businesses. Against businesses that violate the CPA. And if consumers they can do that, this can probably lead to potential lawsuits. Potential lawsuits and financial loss. Another disadvantage will be reputational damage. It will damage the reputation of the business if the business is not complying. So non-compliance can severely damage the reputation of the business. And this will lead to a decline in customer loyalty. In customer loyalty and trust. So now we have indicated, we have specified and included points that are enough. So now let's go to our next item. Explain any three consumer rights in terms of the CPA. So here, consumer rights in terms of the CPA. The consumer has a right to apply for credit. So now, every adult has the right to apply for credit from any credit provider. From any credit provider. Then also, the consumers, they are protected against discrimination. So now credit providers must not grant credit unfair. They shouldn't discriminate. They should grant credit to everyone who qualifies. They should not discriminate based on gender, race, or marital status. The third one, then, the customer has a right to reasons for credit denial. So now, if a credit application is denied, a customer have the right to request a written explanation from the credit provider. The right to request a written explanation from the credit provider. So we have listed the 3 rights for consumers. Let's move to the next items. Suggest ways in which businesses can comply with the CPA. Okay, so now how can business comply with the CPA? The first thing, they should be registered and they should also report. So here, let's start by saying ways in which businesses with CPA. So if they want to comply, the first thing, they should register and report. So it's registration and report. So the business should register with the National Credit Act. So all credit providers must be registered with the national credit regulators. NCR, which is our national credit regulators. And also they should submit their annual reports. So businesses are required to submit their annual compliance report. To the national credit regulators, detailing their compliance. Another thing the business should do, they should have credit assessment and documentation. So we'll start with affordability assessment. The business can conduct thorough assessment whether the consumer will be able to repay a loan or their credit. Before granting credit. Another thing that they can do, they should conduct credit checks. So the business should obtain and review credit records from registered credit bureaus. Then now we are done. We are supposed to put our conclusion. So here we have our conclusion. In our conclusion, we can say the National Credit Act aims to empower consumers with the knowledge. With the knowledge and rights they need to make informed decisions. decisions. So now we are done with our question 5. We can move to our next question, which is question 6.